He is looking for a Nemo in the Islamic Republic to sign a memorandum of understanding with.
They believe that there is no any chance for agreement, and at the end they have to remove the Iranian regime.
Those who I guess are just tired, who say, forget about the rest of the world. ما تنها هستیم, we're alone.
These people who control the Iranian regime, as Pezeshkian said that IRGC, they are the reality of Islamic Republic. All those things happened during these years were their decision.
Don't lose hope, because that's what they are trying to take away from you. You have nothing to lose. The only thing that you have is hope.
Hi there, we know the game. By now, most Iranians know the game. We know the game when politicians tell us they stand with the Iranian people while continuing to negotiate with those who imprison, torture, and execute them. We know the game when international organizations speak passionately about human rights in one breath and then quietly look the other way in the next. We know the game when sporting bodies insist that politics has no place in football while making political decisions every single day. And we certainly know the game when the Islamic Republic suddenly discovers the language of national pride every time a camera is pointed in its direction. Oh, we know the game where reality is less important than appearances, where symbolism is treated as substance for more than a certain faction, where statements replace action, the game where headlines replace change, the game where everyone seems to be performing for someone else to arrange. But let's be clear, we love the game too, the actual game, the one played on grass, the one that brings strangers together, the one that can make millions of people laugh, cry, sing, celebrate, and dream, the one that can unite a neighborhood, it would seem, a city, a country, even a diaspora scattered across the world. We love that game. That's why this is so complicated, because when the World Cup arrives, many Iranians find ourselves caught between two very different games, the beautiful game and the political game. One inspires us, the other exhausts us. One belongs to the people, the other is constantly being manipulated by people who want to own it. We know the game. We know how quickly a football tournament can become a public relations opportunity. We know how quickly oppression can be wrapped in flags. We know how quickly cameras can be used to manufacture legitimacy. We know the game. And maybe that's why so many Iranians have become skeptical, not hopeless, not defeated, skeptical, because skepticism is what happens when you've been lied to too many times, when promises arrive in bulk and results arrive in crumbs, when every major event becomes an opportunity for someone to advance an agenda while insisting they're simply being neutral. And now the World Cup begins. A month-long global spectacle, billions of eyes, thousands of cameras, millions of dollars, and once again, the Iranian people find themselves staring at a familiar question: who is this moment really for? Who benefits from it? Who gets heard? Who gets seen? And who gets used? The Islamic Republic will play its game. FIFA will play its game. Governments will play their game. Media outlets will play their game. But maybe this summer presents an opportunity for the Iranian people to play a game of our own, to tell our own story, to reclaim our own narrative, to remind the world that behind every flag, every anthem, every headline, every diplomatic statement, there are actual human beings still fighting for freedom. Because if there's one thing Iranians have learned over the last 47 years, it is this: we know the game, and we know about a system built on lies, and we are ready to watch the lion and sun rise. It's June 11th, 2026. This is Roqe. Well, hi there. Welcome to episode 445 of Roqe, Iran Rises. I'm Jian Ghomeshi. Hello to you from Toronto, Canada, one of the homes of the World Cup 2026, which is kicking off today. Salam dostan aziz, durud bar shoma. Hope you're doing okay. wherever you are tuning in from around the world. This is the 41st episode in our Iran Rises series, this one entitled The Game They're Playing. Now, once again, events inside Iran and around the Iranian diaspora are moving at a breakneck speed. That's more true today than it usually is, in fact. Depending on what Trump is tweeting, depending on what's happening with the World Cup, who's being let into the country, what atrocity is happening in Iran, this is all changing by the hour. So we should note that we are recording this episode at approximately 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time here in Toronto on this Thursday, June 11th. That is evening time in Iran. As always, we're doing our best to share perspectives and conversations as up to date as humanly possible. You know, we used to tape this show 2 or 3 days in advance sometimes. This entire time, this 6 weeks, we've been recording an hour or two before we put the show out, before we post it, just to be as up to date as we can be. We do our best. Now, before we get going, if you appreciate our independent programming and or want to support us, you can do so on YouTube. If you like what we do as alternative independent media, just hit the super thanks button on YouTube and you can contribute something small, anything at all, to keeping Roqe alive and thriving. If you're listening to us on one of the podcast platforms right now, you can switch over to YouTube at any point and just hit that super thanks button. We do appreciate it and we appreciate you. And also, 2 big announcements to make on this show today. 2 big announcements on this program. First, tickets are officially back on sale for Roqe Live 6. We've been looking forward to this. Roqe Live 6 returns. This is the 6th version of our live in front of a theater iteration of what we do with Roqe, our variety show. If you remember, after having to postpone this event earlier this year because of the situation in Iran, we're now thrilled to announce that Roqe Live returns on Saturday, July 18th. Saturday, it's the first time we're doing it on Saturday, July 18th at the Richmond Hill Center for the Performing Arts. This lineup for Roqe Live 6 includes the legendary singer and Roqe Media Icon Award recipient Shahram Kholdi. He will be here. It includes Tina Parsa. She is the psychologist and social media star. She's actually gone viral again recently for a video in which she's being asked what it means to be Iranian. Her answers are quite captivating. Tina Parsa making her first appearance ever in Canada. Canada will be part of Roqe Live 6. Shali Zomarodi, the beloved broadcaster, will be back for Roqe Live. We always appreciate having her. Captain Christopher Behnam, the hero aviator, will be here as part of Roqe Live 6. Dariush Azar. Dariush Azar is, if you don't know him, he's based in Montreal. Fantastic singer-songwriter. He used to be part of the band Paulette. And he will have a band with him, some great young musicians, Iranian musicians, playing on stage throughout the night. Pega Ganji will be part of this show. Ghazal Piano will be part of this show. And, of course, I will be there as the host, as usual. We'd love to see you. We'd love to see you there. Roqe Live 6, July 18th. Tickets are available now at our Instagram page. So if you go to our Instagram page, go to the bio, press that, you can get tickets for Roqe Live 6. We had sold a few. If you bought tickets earlier before the show was postponed, we'll be honoring those tickets, but there are a whole bunch of good ones that are left. It's just gone back on sale, so see if you can get them right away. Now, secondly, the second announcement. With the FIFA World Cup kicking off today, we are excited to announce the launch of the Roqe Football House. The Roqe Football House. For the next 6 weeks, we're going to be gathering football fans from across the community to watch matches together, share some food, drink, shisha, qelyun, special guests, events, every game, every day, one house, the Roqe Football House. It'll be based at the Cavalli Lounge in Richmond Hill. You know, there's a lot going on in Toronto and downtown Toronto. Some great events, some great clubs, some great places where you can watch the World Cup. This one's a little further north. If you are in the greater Toronto area, in North York, in Thornhill, Aurora, Newmarket, or in fact in Richmond Hill itself, you can find us in Richmond Hill. The Roqe Football House. Admission is free, though you really need to reserve. Reservations are strongly recommended. Full details can be found on our social media platforms. We've just put up a video with the poster, and so you can see the number to call for reservations. If you're in the greater Toronto area, come to the Roqe Football House every day, every game, one house. If you don't live in the greater Toronto area, this is a good reason to fly in and come to the Roqe Football House and hang out with us. Now, Coming up on this 445th episode of Roqe, the game they're playing. That's the title of this episode, but who exactly is they? Is it the Islamic Republic? Is it FIFA? Is it Team Melli? Is it Western governments? Or is it all of the above? As the FIFA World Cup gets underway, millions of people around the world will be watching football, you know that, but many Iranians will be watching something else as well, watching to see who stands up, who stays silent, who speaks, who performs, who benefits, because for far too many years, Iranians have found themselves trapped inside games they never agreed to play. Games of propaganda, of diplomacy, of normalization, of distraction. And now, as global attention once again turns toward Iran, another question emerges. Can this moment be used against the Islamic Republic? Is this a genuine opportunity, or will the regime once again use the moment for itself? And as tensions between Tehran and Washington continue to escalate and de-escalate, we're looking at some genuine signs of regime weakness or not, or just another round in a much larger game. Join us for this panel. Joining us today, former political prisoner and activist Ahmad Batebi joins us from Washington, D.C. Historian and political analyst Dr. Shahram Kholdi joins us from southwestern Ontario. Looking forward to this panel. Let's get to it. All right, let me tell you about Stellar Law. Today's episode of Roqe is brought to you in part by Stellar Law. Stellar Law is a boutique litigation firm based in Toronto, founded and led by Rana Nosrat Panah. The firm represents businesses and professionals in commercial and contractual disputes, particularly where relationships have broken down and the consequences are significant. You need a lawyer? Stellar Law. Stellar Law's practice is grounded in careful analysis and strategic decision-making. Much of the work involves contract disputes, shareholder conflicts, complex business disagreements that require both legal precision and practical judgment. Rana and her team are known for approaching these matters with clarity, with focus, with a deep understanding of what is at stake for their clients. So for those navigating serious disputes with real commercial impact, check out Stellar Law at stellarlaw.ca. Stellarlaw.ca. Thanks again to Rana Nosrat and her team at Stellar Law. If you're Iranian, do note that Stellar Law operates in both English and in Persian if you prefer to deal in Persian. And let me tell you about Quasar Homes. Today's edition of Roqe is brought to you in part by Quasar Homes. Quasar is a name synonymous with quality, detail, and innovation in Toronto's custom home building and major renovations. Founded and led by Amir Firouz, Quasar Homes has become a trusted choice for families who want exceptional craftsmanship and a seamless building experience. With a passion for creating homes that combine elegance and comfort and functionality, Amir and his team continue to raise the standard of living for homeowners across the city. They're particularly committed to environmental awareness and sustainability. I really love this about them. The environment is a big part of what they do. They also happen to be the sponsors of the Roqe Media Icon Award. Quasar Homes will be part of the Icon Award presentation to Shahram Kholdi for Roqe Live 6 on July 18th. If you are in the greater Toronto area and you're looking to build, you're looking to renovate, you're looking to expand, consider Quasar. Check them out at Quasar Homes on Instagram. Quasar Homes. All right, let's get to our panel. Our first guest is someone we have been hoping to have on this show for some time. Ahmad Batebi, a journalist, an activist, a former political prisoner whose photograph during the 1999 Iranian student protests became one of the most iconic images in the history of the Islamic Republic and the resistance to it. After years of imprisonment and persecution, he eventually escaped Iran and has since dedicated himself to reporting on Iranian affairs, human rights, and the struggle for freedom and democracy. He is a Mufti Fellow for Advocacy, and he joins us from Washington, D.C. today. And Dr. Shahram Kholdi has been a Middle East historian and political analyst who has taught international relations, the history of oil, and modern Middle Eastern politics at several universities across Canada, including the University of Waterloo. He holds a PhD from the University of Manchester, where his research focused on the politics of memory and the historiography of the 1979 Iranian Revolution. He has written and spoken extensively on Iran's contemporary political dynamics, regime narratives, and regional geopolitics, and has appeared as an expert analyst in media and policy discussions, including testimony before Canada's Foreign Affairs Committee. Shahram Kholdi joins us from southwestern Ontario today. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you both for being part of this.
Thank you for having us.
Pleasure to have you on for the first time, Ahmed John.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So the title of this episode is The Game They're Playing, which is a quadruple entendre, and I can get into that. I should note that there's also breaking news in terms of the geopolitics of the Trump administration and Iran and potential attacks and the tit for tat that's happening there. So we will get to that. But let me start with the fact that today is the kickoff of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. That will feature a team from the Islamic Republic. Whether it's the national team in the eyes of Iranians or not is part of the question I'm asking you with regards to Team Melli. Vis-a-vis the question, the game they're playing, let's start here. What do you believe the regime hopes to gain from Team Melli's presence on this most elevated global stage over the next few weeks? Ahmad Batebi.
I think it's a like drug for Iranian regime. You know that culturally, soccer game, football is so important for Iranian people. We have national team and some local team. We have a lot of followers for them. So most of the time, the Iranian regime use that to get attention from Iranian people about those things they want. And we had this experience many times. Most of the time we have issue in country or something happened, they invite a foreign team, foreign country, or even local team to have a game and get attention from people. They make them busy and change their mind. So right now we have war there, we have economic issue there, and right now at this moment we are talking about this issue. They have their selection of national member team. If you ask me, this is my personal opinion, this is not real Team Melli, this is not real national team, this is just selection of the Iranian regime. Those people who support them, they made a team and they want to send here and made them busy for a few days and use it as a drug for people pain. So this is the whole story.
When you say use it as a drug, you mean as an opiate, meaning a distraction, or to numb people, or as a drug to sort of normalize. Exactly. Go ahead.
People have pain. People are sad. People are looking for revenge for that thing happened a few months ago. So, and we have middle of war. You know that at this moment we are talking about this issue. We have some attack from both sides. So Iranian people ask for the reason of these things, and they are looking for a legitimate reason for starting war again from the IRGC side. So they don't have any answer for that, but they can make busy people for few hours and give them this chance. They think about the next game, about the next stage of World Cup, and so for maybe few weeks, maybe few months, people are busy, their mind is busy, and they cannot pay attention on other things. So this is exactly the thing the Iranian regime wants, and they use this opportunity.
How effective are they at that with this?
When you do not think about your difficulties, about your miseries, and you think about something else which there is no any benefit for you, but it's fun, this is drug. This is exactly the effect of that on your brain is exactly drug. So it is my opinion, the Iranian regime used this opportunity as a drug for Iranian people, keep them for few, maybe weeks, few months, quiet, calm for, next stage to see what they can do.
And just to clarify, so if you were, if someone gives you tickets to see the Iran game versus New Zealand, and you're sitting in the crowd, your reaction to this team is what?
To be honest, it was my dream to be there, because the last time I was so kid, the Iranian national team came United States, and that time I couldn't believe that they come and I'm United States and I have this chance to go there and see the national team. But as I said, this is not national team, and when our country, when our people are sad and they're looking for revenge of those people we lost there is no any reason I go there and support selection of Iranian regime. Also, we have the national flag issue there too. So this is this is not personal discussion. We have to see that the Iranian community, we need to find a solution for that. What should be our reaction about that? And from this vision, from this side, yeah, maybe I'll be involved, but go there, encourage them, I'll never do that.
Okay. So this opening question to you, Dr. Kholdi, what do you believe the regime hopes to gain or is gaining from Team Melli's presence on the global stage as this World Cup kicks off?
Well, if you don't mind me hearkening back a little bit to my original PhD research, now almost a bygone of 15 years, and yet still relevant for all intents and purposes. I think this regime is right now in a position that it needs to, it's basically reaching for straws in whatever manner that it can to galvanize a sense of national belonging. A majority of the people are totally disaffected and I would say in a state of, as we speak right now, sense of dormant revolt against this regime because of the massacres of the January 2026. And after receiving this shellacking for almost 40 days, from 28th of February to the 9th of April of this year, and the ongoing situation and the fact that, as Ahmad John mentioned, the economic situation has created a dire strait that is only comparable with the bad economic situation that Iran experienced in the period of 1907, 1908 until 1929. I would say that they are trying to resort to a sense of lieu de mémoire, a locus of collective memory by promoting the national team. And for Iranians, the national soccer team, Team Football, Team Melli Football, has always had a place that has been intergenerationally revered, irrespective of the government or whether the Pahlavi dynasty was in power, the constitutional monarchy was in place, or we have had the Islamic Republic over the past 47 years. And especially if there has been a chance to face off what the regime considers to be its ardent and prime adversary, the United States of America, this is an opportunity like none other. And never have they been in their history at such lows, both in terms of legitimacy, the economic strife that the country is experiencing collectively, and of course, in terms of their ability to rule, and their stability is at stake. But I am not too sure if it would be working like the dopamine, the collective memory dopamine, that they would be able to use it for their domestic purposes.
Well, there's probably a divide that we need to, there's probably a line we need to draw between how effective this will be in controlling or propagating some kind of narrative for Iranians, both inside and outside of Iran, and how effective it may be for non-Iranian audiences around the world. One of the arguments that is made about this, why some of us are not happy about this Team Melli playing at this World Cup, is the normalization, if you will, of events of the last 6 months and the last 47 years of this regime. Now, what does that mean? I just wanted to share an anecdote with both of you from this morning. I'm a sports fan, so I'm always watching something in Canada that's called Sports Center. It's one of those, on the hour sports shows that gives you the roundup of the scores and all of that. and they were doing a preview of the World Cup and going through the different groups, and they got to Iran, and they said, and it's great to see the Iranian team here. They're a good team, and after all the troubles that have happened with that country being attacked by the U.S., etc., it'll be great to see them advance. Now, this is just some broadcaster on a Canadian TV station talking a sportscaster, but I thought, well, that's an example of normalization, because this person saying this has no idea of the context of this team, what they represent to Iranians, and is seeing this as advocacy for the underdog by saying, let's see this team advance to the quarterfinals or the semifinals. That seems to be a very different question than what we face within the Iranian community about what this team represents. Dr. Kholdi, would you agree?
Absolutely agree. And the regime is desperate to awaken the kind of, for its own purposes, the kind of international, I would say, sympathy akin to what happened in 1998. Of course, Jian, it is like that. We are a little bit older, so we remember without prejudice the qualification of the Iranian team, and then when it faced the United States and the victory over the United States squad. So the problem is that in 1998, at least there was a passive consensus about the fact that, okay, there are reformists in place, and this is actually the time at which Ahmad was most active in Iran, and I was not in Iran, so he can testify to the sentiments that existed domestically there. But as someone who was on the campus of the University of Toronto at the time, people really didn't take kindly to me when I said that this regime keeps referring to the team as the national team of Islamic Republic of Iran, and not as the national team of Iran. And it is ironic that people who are supporters of the regime amongst the diaspora, they keep talking about Team Melli, the national team, and they keep excluding the Islamic Republic from it. And then we see that when the diaspora Iranians, who in millions went on the streets in February, especially February the 14th, in the West, in major cities across the on both sides of the Atlantic, and proclaimed their support for the Iranian movement to free themselves from the shackles of the Islamic Republic. Those Iranians, who are now perhaps between 6 to 8 million of them living as diaspora outside Iran, they're going around and they are replacing the official flag of the Islamic Republic with the historical lion and sun flag. And I do not believe that this fissure that we can see can be, or fault line that we see can be better explained, but through this kind of I would say activism that the Iranian diaspora is showing. My question, though, is that when they would try to go to the stadiums and raise the lion and sun flag, how will they be treated by the officials in the stadiums, especially when the games are being played in Mexico and Canada?
I don't think Iran's playing in Canada, is it? I think all three. I think there's no Canadian.
No
Iran
Canadian.
Game.
Okay.
No.
Then.
But let me get to that, and I just want to. By the way, I would have been one of the people who looked at you strange in 1998. Maybe I say that with some shame. I don't know. I feel like at that time our argument was, well, this team, doesn't necessarily represent this regime, and the player. And then much like the way many people believed that reform was possible, that's been squeezed out of us year after year to the point where, as of 4 years ago, it was like, I don't even want to watch this team anymore with it, during Zandagi Azadi. Ahmed, the same question to you about non-Iranians. You talked about this being a drug for the Iranian people, but the impact that this World Cup, I mean, I don't want to, for anybody out there listening who isn't a big football fan or they're watching us and they're somewhere in the Iranian diaspora, somewhere in the world, and they're watching kind of going, why is Jian making such a big deal about that? I know he's a football fan. Why is it? But this really is the biggest stage in the world where everybody's watching, and the kind of thing that I talked about sportscasters saying like they did this morning does have an impact in the way people think about a country like the Islamic Republic of Iran. What impact do you think this can have on non-Iranians? The inclusion of Team Melli, that I think in this panel we all would agree is basically effectively a tool of the Islamic Republic regime.
We know that FIFA is a corrupted organization, not necessarily about these things, decision about Iran and Sun flag, about other things, about financial things. We know that how much corruption is there. And we know that politically they are depend of those sources that receive money or support from them. This is not my opinion, this is fact, and if you search internet you can find many things. I think it depends to Iranian behavior and reaction about these games, which means although they want ban to have our flag there, but out there we have a lot of media which support the Iranian people, and they publish their news, their opinion, and their reaction about these issues. How much our reaction be strong and strict, direct, and strong, definitely other side can have better opinion about the reality of Iran. Dr. Kholdi talked about dopamine and how much this dopamine works for this situation. I think we cannot separate the Iranian people inside and outside. 3 days ago, 3 days ago, I started to monitor the social media content by AI to see how much the Iranian people from inside and outside have passion about this World Cup and all those news around that, about flag, about the national team, their places, all these things. Based on that data, I could find from Iranian social media, inside and outside, just 12% of all accounts in social media, including Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, just 12% talk about this issue. And 8% of, this type of content, they are talking about this national team is not representative of Iranian people, and they focus on the propaganda of regime, the video that they made by AI for this game, and these things. They are talking about these things, even they do not support. Just 4% of, I have to call cyber army, I have to call the Iranian regime support, they talk about, and they support this national team. So this is the reality, this is the environment we are in there. So assume they come out, and that much people we could organize a few months ago to go in the street. Toronto, we've been there together. It's almost, at least based off the report, more than 300,000 people came there. Yeah. We could organize this much people come and be voice of Iranian people and talk to media in their language and provide the documents to show that this national team is a selection of Iranian regime support and in different ways. So we can change the board opinion about the reality of Iran. So as I said, this is depend to our reaction and how much we are organized and we have planned for
Sorry, what does that 12% represent? Is that interest? Is that speaking directly about the politics around Team Melli, or is that interest in the World Cup in general? It seems definitely low for Iranian interest in football in general. What exactly does that 12% represent?
12% of social media account, they talk about these games. 8% of that talk about Iranian regime propaganda and this truth that this is not national team. This is representative of Iranian regime.
But just I think there's a cohort of Iranians that are just checking out of, I know some people who are excited about Brazil and Argentina and France watching football and just don't want to have anything to do with Team Melli. Would they be included in that survey?
No, just Iranian regime team. I'm talking about national team, just Iran, not other thing. Yeah, traditionally we support many countries there and we support them. But specifically about the national team, when going to go there, just 12% of social media I can talk about that. 8% about the propaganda and 4% directly support this team.
So I'm guessing that you would say that, because I remember this very vividly from 4 years ago, when Iran scored, for example, or even won a game, I believe, at the last World Cup, we did not see many videos of, other than some, sort of regime puppets, we did not see videos of people celebrating in the streets inside Iran. Would you guess that that's going to be the same kind of vibe if this team is successful at all at this World Cup?
Definitely, Iranian regime has planned to celebrate. They bring their people in the streets. Even if you remember that a few years ago, they even organized them and sent to other countries to support them. Yeah. They definitely do that. But if you think the ordinary people come outside, I think they never come for many reasons. Dr. Kholdi mentioned that about economic issue, about their anger, they are mad about all these things. If you ask me, they never come outside. This is the reality we see in social media from their behavior.
Just out of curiosity, because you are this iconic activist from that exact period, 1998, where Iran was in the World Cup and the U.S. game, and I was actually in Arizona in the States watching that game. It was an interesting place to be watching. And just out of curiosity, Ahmad, what were your feelings about Team Melli in that moment back then? Were you more sympathetic to the team, or did you have the same kind of feeling that you do now?
That time we didn't have this much technology and capacity to be in touch with these issues. We didn't have that much social media. We didn't have people talk about that. Our source was just TV and some newspaper. So it was fun for Iranian people to go and get more information. Definitely we were excited to see what's going on, and we didn't have this issue. Killing people, more than 40,000 people. We didn't have war, all these things. So yeah, that time we support them because you explained at the beginning of this show, our understanding from situation was different. So we were different people, and right now we are different people. We cannot compare.
My biggest fear at the time, my band was on tour. We were in Arizona, and when Iran won, I wanted to run out in the streets. They were saying, "Don't go out there." It wasn't a very sympathetic environment in Arizona. Actually, it wasn't Arizona. It was Alabama. We were in Alabama on tour when Iran beat the U.S. Ahmed, both of you have spoken to the idea that there's two sides to this biggest stage. The one side is giving the regime a chance to try and sell its narrative to the world via this team and who it'll place in the crowds. It's going to be very interesting watching this over the next 2 or 3 weeks sociologically, if nothing else. But the other side of it is that this is an opportunity, right? This is an opportunity for the diaspora, for our community, for those of us who have been out on the streets for the last 6 months trying to support the people inside Iran for freedom, for democracy. Part of the campaign I've been seeing is, and we're talking to some of the folks who are doing it, is taking the Lion and Sun flag to the games. So first to you, Ahmed, how do you believe the Iranian diaspora can best best use this World Cup to highlight the regime's atrocities and to weaken its narrative? And what do you suspect will happen around bringing the flag to the stadiums, etc.? And then the same question to Dr. Kholdi.
The national flag is not the new issue. During these years, many political groups, including Mujahideen, try to use this opportunity for their purposes. And the national flag, or Leon and Son, which is that version is for them, was one of the main items they try to bring inside the stadiums. So we are familiar to situation. We can guess what's going to happen based off our experience in the past. But the point is, if we have this much capacity and we could organize ourselves to make a big wave to go to a stadium, no one can stop, because no one can ban all people with flag. So they go inside. It depends to our community, how much we are connected to each other. We can share our opinion, we can share our solution for this issue, and we can have strategy for this issue, and definitely we can go inside.
And I mean, you're sitting there at with Nufti in Washington. I mean, are you optimistic that this opportunity is going to be taken and realized by Iranian activists in the States and at the stadium in LA and Seattle, etc.?
At this moment, I cannot talk from Nufti position and policy, because I'm not representative right now. But we closely watch. And we analyze the situation, and if we have this opportunity and chance to be involved or we have reaction, definitely we do that.
Fair enough. Dr. Kholdi, your thoughts on this as an opportunity and the activism around the activation of bringing the Lion and Sun flag, etc.
Well, sites of memory, like the national Iranian football team, often become fraught as those canyons over which both sides of a national dispute seek to assert a different type of legitimacy. The regime is trying to use it, to use the squad for propaganda purposes, to show that, we are under attack by U.S. imperialism and etc., and world Zionism, as they refer to Israel every now and again as the agent of world Zionism. And the squad is supposed to serve that purpose. The Islamic Republic flag for them, of course, is, and I would not be surprised if a lot of non-Iranian Middle Easterns who could be sympathizing with the Islamic Republic could be raising that flag in the stadiums. And then we would see Iranians with relatives in Iran who share that intergenerational, multi-layered sense of belonging that is symbolized, that is embodied by the national squad, raising the Lion and Sun, and seeking to make the world aware of this very deep rift. And here we then run into the biggest question. In 1998, many people inside and outside Iran thought that when the Iranian national team would play against the United States and whatever, and in view of the overtures that were being signaled by the Clinton administration, it would usher in an era of diplomatic normalization, eventually the opening of the US embassy, end of Death to America. These were the aspirations of the reformist movement. And lo and behold, we are somewhere else almost 30 years later, and in a complete confrontation.
Yeah.
There are no reformists there. The regime, because of the fact that many members of different national teams and squads over the past 7-8 years have been systematically claiming political asylum to the countries where they have been playing or where they've been competing, has been trying to fill these teams with people that they trust, that have connections to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or will try to buy them off and their families by basically lavishing all sorts of privileges, financial and otherwise, to make sure that these people all of a sudden do not seek asylum to the host country. And we saw that unravel when the female national soccer team was playing in Australia just a few months back, and the whole fiasco over this. Yeah. And then we heard that the members of the families of the family members of the team members who were seeking asylum in Australia were being threatened or were being jailed and things like that. I have a feeling that we are going to see some sort of a confrontation in these stadiums. It may not become violent. This is not what I'm suggesting, but I think it will work completely against the expectations of the Islamic Republic. And in fact, because of the fact that there has been an escalation in the Persian Gulf between the United States and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, again, during the past 2-3 days, I think it will not allow this World Cup to be what Jules Rimet envisioned as the place where different teams from hostile countries would come and play and forget about
peace and harmony,
their differences, and would promote.
Okay, you've said a lot there. I mean, and you make a very good point that certainly if they're willing to come out on the streets now with posters of Khamenei and Parcham Jomi Islami, the Islamic Republic flag, these non-Iranian sympathizer groups from the Middle East, etc., or then why wouldn't they do that in the stadiums? And that could even in the stadiums create some conflict, etc. One of the issues, I don't want to throw any water on this in a negative way in terms of the possibilities that this could that negative narratives about the Islamic Republic, there's an opportunity here to spread them and what this team represents, etc. But one of our issues is that this is all very hard to explain to non-Iranians. And I'm grateful that you guys both do work in English, because because there's a very sophisticated level of understanding amongst Iranians speaking in Persian and in Persian media and social media, etc., as a product of talking about these things for years. But in the English or in the non-Iranian space around the world, this is not easy to explain, Dr. Kholdi. I mean, I even when people bring the Lion and Sun flag, and so to the regular punter who's watching here in Canada or in Sweden or in the Republic of Congo, they see a team is going that some of these people are cheering for them, some of them are not. Some of them have a flag that has something in the middle that is different from the other thing in the middle, and they're saying they're against them, and so partly it's an education that we need to preside over, right?
And it's a challenge. I often wonder how insurmountable it gets. For instance, I was in Ottawa about 3 months ago, and because of Chatham House rules, I cannot really divulge exactly what I was doing there, but I can tell you that it was a venue that concerned the government, and there were other Iranians, many of them highly educated, And it was amazing to me to see these highly educated anti-Islamic Republic Iranians were completely at odds with the feelings of the rank and file diaspora Iranians, to the point that I actually thought that, and this just came to me like a premonition of the sorts, that I really would like to know if some of these highly educated, some of them academic colleagues of mine would be raising the Islamic Republic flag the way they are trying to offer a narrative of what is happening in Iran right now to various authorities here in Ottawa. And they would find themselves completely at odds with those Iranians who would go to these stadiums and would raise the lion and sun flag.
Well, I can tell you, I've had some very interesting feedback from in my comments recently from people who are saying, much more so that it feels like more so than 4 years ago, even saying, these are just athletes. Why are you're making politicizing? Why are you, as if we're politicizing this by saying this team represents a regime that just slaughtered 40,000 people? But and you see someone like, I'm sure you've seen the I guess it was a tweet or a comment by Amir Tahiri saying, "Hey, come on, everybody, move along. We should support the team. These are Javuna, these are young athletes, etc." So that sentiment is definitely out there, Dr. Kholdi.
That is true, and it will create, in my opinion, certain divisions. And the problem, of course, is that the whole squad is taken over by the IRGC. We just saw what happened when the manager of the team, who has strong connections to IRGC, tried to come to Canada, almost did. And if it were not because of the activism of the diaspora, he would not have been basically deported. And the Iranian diaspora was extremely upset and disdainful of the federal government because they feel that the federal government expresses sympathy and support for the liberation aspirations of the Iranian people. And on the other hand, in the name of the World Cup, it completely forgets that this person is basically an agent, or at worst and at best completely in cahoots with the IRGC, who have put him at the management of the Iranian national squad and is coming there to do their bidding.
Yeah.
Let
me bring Ahmad in here, because I'd be remiss if I didn't. I just want to ask you about the question around education, and what Dr. Kholdi, I think, correctly said is it's an uphill battle in terms of explaining to non-Iranians the nuances of all of this. If I can throw this at you, there are some people who say, those who I guess are just tired, who say, forget about the rest of the world. We're alone. Nobody's gonna. We've given up on trying to get the help of other people. Don't go to these great lengths to try and explain this to everybody and trying to get them to sympathize with the people of Iran. It never works, and we're always alone in the end. To them, you say what? And how do you feel about this notion of needing to educate around something like even this Team Melli?
It's an important discussion, I think. So Dr. Kholdi pointed many important things about this issue. I want to add two more. The first one is, we know that during these years, all opportunities inside Iran was for those people who are relevant to government. And during these years, many people, as a student, as a businessman, as a refugee, many things came outside by support and fake background of Iranian regime. They made their life here, their business here. If you see their life, there is no any issue, there is no any illegal activity. They are good citizens, they have their own businesses, they hire some, American, Canadian, or all those countries they are there. They hire, they may pay tax. There is no any dark side in their life. But at the end, they go that side the Iranian regime wants. For example, there is election, they support that representative that the Iranian regime want to be there. They go pay khums, zakat, they donate to some mosque, to some, charities or even think tanks. So they are organized. They work a lot during these years on this issue to have effect on host countries. So keep this one. They are organized, they have money, and they work a lot. And the second thing, the other part of Iranian people who are ordinary people, they came, most of them are successful people. They have good job, they are educated, they have own life. They don't have, or they didn't have that much to be involved on these things. But during these years, specifically in the United States, which was good representative of diaspora for other Iranian around the world, we had some group like NAYAK, which they were a non-profit organization. As a think tank, they started to work, and they were voice of the Iranian regime here. They are so organized, they try to educate their own people, they brainwash people in university or young generation, second generation, third generation, and inject them even in the government, different part of the government. And it's few years that the Iranian regime realized that it's the time they start and to have an act to get the right and their share from these countries. So this is the philosophy that Nufti created by the founders, that they said that we have voice, we are citizen of this country, and we can have our voice, our share, and our effect on the government and the politics. So if we believe and understand that this is our right as a diaspora, to have activity, to have our voice and effect on the government or of our countries at politics, we can have more activity. But for this one, we need to be organized. We are not alone. We are not organized. Being alone is different. We are too much. We had this, at least that protest we had recently in Toronto, we were together. How much people came there? So
amazing. Yeah.
$1 each of them pay to create, this is an example, to create a non-profit organization for lobby, for activity. How many people can come and work there as a volunteer? We can do many things. So if we believe this capacity, and we have some people have this courage to come and make this organization in our countries, we can have effect on and change the people opinion, non-Iranian people, and explain the reality of Iranian people and the situation. So if you ask me, this is the only way we can do it, and this is our right, and we can do that.
Well, and I would add to that, though, that finding the times, the opportunities, is important. It's why we care that somebody says something at the Academy Awards, because we know that there's a lot of eyeballs watching that, and that it can break through, it can pop through. We're not just in our bubble telling the same people the same things that they've heard that we feel about the regime, etc. And that's why the World Cup feels like an opportunity. It's a matter of how this. It's as we keep saying, we can't predict exactly how it's going to play out. But as one of our guests last week said, look, maybe if there is disruptions, maybe if people are getting dragged away by police for having a lion and sun flag, it will invite questions. Well, why was the person there? What was the flag about? What are they protesting? Which are the kind of questions we want out there. I realize I can't keep you here both forever, and I've got about 15 minutes, and I have to pivot to, I would be remiss if I didn't use this opportunity, because you're both so deeply smart and involved in what's happening geopolitically vis-a-vis Iran, to ask you about the latest, because of course it changes day to day. We don't know exactly what's going on. I just about before we were going to do this this panel, this was the breaking news on CNBC. Let me read you what this is, now separate from the World Cup, where President Donald Trump on Thursday today threatened to seize Iran's oil infrastructure, including its main export terminal, Kharg Island, in the not too distant future. Trump said in a Truth Social post that the U.S. military will attack Iran very hard, all caps, Thursday night. After completing a round of airstrikes on Wednesday, the president threatened to take control of Iran's oil and gas markets, as the U.S. did in Venezuela earlier this year. Ahmad Batebi, what is going on in your view?
It's really too hard to say what's going to happen in future. But the thing I see in Washington, D.C., in think tanks or government or something like that, the Trump administration at the end goes that way they want. They do not care what Democrat people say that. They do not care what's going to happen. They have target and they reach that. And it shows, in past, he shows this behavior and proof that he will do that. But the only problem we have here is how much cost the Iranian people need to pay for this situation. We know that the Iranian regime priority is not Iranian people or national benefit. During this time, many times Israel and United States attacked to ordinary people, attacked to they even killed the supreme leader of Iran. They didn't have that much reaction, but recently when Israel attacked to Hezbollah, Lebanon, they started war again. Right. So we have to understand the logic of IRGC and reaction of IRGC. The point is, there is no any ideology. This is my opinion. There is no any ideology. They are not looking for, akhar al-zamani or something like that. They are looking for an opportunity that they finish these, difficulties in their way. They killed a lot of people during these years. They don't have anywhere to escape there. And the only way is front of them is just fighting until die. If we believe this, picture, we can, have better analyze from the situation. On the other side, we have United States that they don't have any joke. When they want to do that, they will do that, not because they want to prove that they are strong, because they have some agreement with other countries around Iran. So they have to protect them. They have to, have their own benefit. All these things, if you ask me, this is my opinion, if you ask me, at the end is just destroying all those things. They have their military facilities or oil industry. And at the end, they target the commander of IRGC until a different part of the government, different level of people of the government come up and ready for negotiation, and they sell their benefit of the Iranian people a new agreement, all this, and they're looking for this situation.
But Ahmed, depending on who you ask and what time of day it is and which day it is, somebody will say it's pretty much over. The Trump administration is eager to do a deal. There's going to be a deal done, and the regime has won this round, and we'll kind of stall for time until perhaps there's another president that doesn't have the cojones to do what Trump was going to do, and so it's all been for naught. And then you'll have somebody say, no, this is continuing, and this has been a cat and mouse game, and partly it's been posturing and feigning, and as we see, the activities in terms of intervention and attacks and actions by the United States and Israel do continue. So do you think this today represents an escalation, or is this posturing on the way to a deal? If you were to guess, Ahmed, and I'll come to you, Dr. Kholdi, go ahead.
All those people who died from government, supreme leader and other people were just front page of Iranian regime. They were a mask for that thing was behind that. These people who control the Iranian regime, as Pezeshkian said that, IRGC, they are the reality of Islamic Republic. All those things happened during these years were their decision. So as long as they are there, negotiation doesn't have any meaning. There is no anything of, for negotiation or making a deal. I believe that the only way that the United States can change the situation is just removing these people from, the page, and other people who are a little, maybe I don't want to use the political term, but a little, soft, come and they are ready for negotiation, and they try to have people's side also. The U.S. government benefit, and they start again for negotiation. This is the best situation for the United States. But I believe that there is no that much capacity. We reach this situation, and at the end is the real war.
Okay, Dr. Kholdi, I'm very curious to hear your take on all this today.
Yeah, Jian, if you don't mind me saying this, it's 1:56 Eastern Time, 11th of June, 2026 that we are speaking. At 1:28, this is what Donald J. Trump put on Truth Social. Based on the fact that discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved, I have, as President of the United States of America, cancelled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran this evening. Discussions and final points have been, in both concept and great detail, approved by all parties involved, including the United States, Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Turkey, Pakistan, Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, Egypt, and others. The naval blockade will remain in full force and effect until this transaction is finalized. Time and place of the signing to be announced shortly, Donald J. Trump. So what does this show?
There you go. Real fact checking in real time. So yeah, tell us your.
Well, this shows. You see, we are, and a majority of Iranian people inside and outside Iran are expressing profound frustration with President Trump and his dilly-dallying and this roller coaster that they feel they have been put on. They think that the president abruptly stopped the war when the regime won on its last leg and lent it a new lease on life. And they don't like it. I have now, since internet was relaxed a little bit, all of a sudden my followers on Instagram, over almost 90% of them are all from inside Iran. My followership went over 100,000. And I'm getting hundreds of messages that people are begging me to let Canadian and American officials know that they want to be rid of this regime, and they are hoping that this happens sooner than later. They are frustrated with President Trump. They actually are hoping that Bibi Netanyahu would be their saving grace. Of course, there are people who are so frustrated who believe that there is no hope and the Iranian people have to save themselves. And of course, there are the cyber army people who are calling me a sellout, a traitor, and all sorts of things. Yes. But this is yet another sign. Whenever Donald Trump says that, CNN showed 37 times he's been saying that we are close to a deal. If this deal, as he is so clearly claiming, is not signed, we will see that there will be another rupture within a few days. And this is the Donald Trump who used the F word, who threatened Netanyahu that if you attack Iran, you will be alone. And then within 48 hours, one of his helicopters, the helicopters of the United States Armed Forces, was shut down by IRGC. And IRGC is basically in control of the whole country. They think that if they behave sanely, they are insane. And now he is saying this. So, Jian, by the time you file this podcast, you put it online, who knows? Donald Trump might have bombed again Iran. We don't know.
It'll be in about 4 or 5 hours.
Maybe they have signed a memorandum of understanding. But
Dr. Kholdi, let me just say this to you. I mean, yesterday, because now, as you say, the internet's back. I spoke to 3 people inside Iran, 3 friends of mine. One was in the Shomal, one was in Tehran, one was in Shiraz. 2 of them, the one in Shiraz was actually very optimistic that the regime will be, it's going to come to an end. Everyone still has faith here. We're not tired. She's an activist, and so she still feels. But the other two expressed exactly what you said: anger and frustration at Trump. And I do wonder, there were rallies, here in Toronto, all across North America, around the world, saying, thank you, Trump. Were Iranian people naive to do that?
I don't think so. They judge the man by his word. But when he constantly changes his words and he says things that sound like gibberish to people who understand regime change, means that the Islamic Republic is gone and a secular and democratic transitional system has been put in place. They do not understand why, like Alice in Wonderland, he is looking for, forgive me for all these Hollywood and Disney refrains, he is looking for a Nemo in the Islamic Republic to sign a memorandum of understanding with. People are taking Trump by his words. And when he renege on them, they feel that he is going to, and these are not people who are writing anti-Trump columns in the Washington Post and the New York Times or Wall Street Journal. These are average Iranian people, often professional working class people, who are saying, one of them is a medical doctor, a specialist, a neurosurgeon. The message that has been left to me by that person clearly says that, does really President Trump want to be remembered by Iranians as a President Carter who came this close to the destruction of the Islamic Republic, and then at the last minute, he basically backed away from supporting Iranians?
Ahmad Batebi, I'm very curious to get your initial reaction to what Dr. Kholdi just read from 20 minutes ago that President Trump has posted.
All those things he said that I think is right. This is the point. We are Iranian. We can go read in Farsi. All the news feed of the Iranian regime websites or Telegram channel, and all the thoughts comes from these type of the people there who control right now the country. There is no any chance, there is no anything, there is no anyone the US government can find and talk and make new agreement. There is no anything. So proving of this truth to the Trump administration, it's not easy. But at the end, they are strong. They have a lot of information. They have intelligence services. They will understand that. Actually, I think they know that there is no any chance. There is other issue here that the Trump administration need to, get attention and agreement from other side, which are Democrat people, and they have to prove them if they go war and finish the war and destroy the Iranian regime, because there is no any chance. Proving this through to opposition here in the United States or Democrat people is not easy. So it takes time. You need to see a big image of this situation. But if you ask me, that thing, I hear that from Washington, D.C. and think tanks, the majority of those people who are decision maker or, they have knowledge about Iran, they have influence on U.S. government or Senate, they believe that there is no any chance for agreement, and at the end, they have to remove the Iranian regime. So, I don't know, maybe tomorrow, maybe next month.
He's just said where we've got this agreement and it includes all of these countries. So should we just disregard that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
So Trump has just, I guess, Truth Socialed. He's just announced that there is an agreement, and all of these countries are an imminent agreement, and all these countries, as Dr. Kholdi read, are in agreement with it. What is it? Is that just fake news?
It's not fake news. this is the procedure of President Trump. He said many things during these years, and tomorrow or a few days after that, he changed it. The reality is there is no any chance for agreement. There is no anyone other side, be committed to diplomacy, to agreement or something like that. If even they talk, after a while, other parts of the IRGC or government come and break the agreement. And at the end, we return again here we are. So this is the reality. And people talk about that in Washington, D.C., in think tanks, even today in the State Department, we have a big meeting about these things. All people talk about this. So proving that there is no any other chance and there is no any people for agreement takes time. So,
right.
We need to wait until
I see. So this is you see this as part of you see this as part of a process, and
and we need to wait, and we see that at the end.
And Dr. Kholdi, what's your reaction to that?
Well, the same way that IRGC and the Islamic Republic are trying to string him along so that his 2 years, his remaining 2 years would finally expire, and hopefully for them, of course, somebody else would replace him that would be more amenable to their demands. The same way, in my opinion, he's stringing them along. Yes, stock market is not a priority for him. Oil prices are not a priority for him. Soccer World Cup is not a priority for him, but they concern him. The priority for him, of course, is that he doesn't want to be humiliated by this regime, and he wants to make sure that everybody loves him. These are his two priorities. These have always been his priorities in life, that he would declare victory even when there is no victory, and that everybody loves him. So these are two major priorities based on the two commandments of Trump that I think are the best biography of Donald J. Trump. But when he says things like this, and he's willing to cut these people some slack, every time that he has done this, whether it has been in his private business dealings or when he was in his first term or hither to his second term, some rupture has taken place. And I would say, if this memorandum of understanding is not signed, a storm is coming.
Okay, a final question or ask of both of you, which is that this is the first show, since we didn't have a show this Monday. Our last show was last Thursday. This is the first show we've had where the internet is fully back on in Iran.
Yeah.
And I know that you both, obviously, you appear on other channels, and you both have social media that people inside Iran listen to you on or follow you. But most interesting with this program that we've been doing in English for the last 6.5 years, I take a lot of pride in this. Actually, a little over 30% of the audience listening to us is actually inside Iran when the internet is on. So for those people who are feeling frustrated or deflated or disappointed or disgusted or even hopeful inside Iran, I thought we'd end up with giving you both a chance to speak directly to people inside Iran, and what would you say in terms of wanting to? I know you're both advocates for the Iranian people. What would you say today to people inside Iran? First to you, Ahmad Batebi, and then to you, Dr. Kholdi.
I know that they don't have access that much to free media, to internet, and all those things happen there. Definitely disappointed them, but life is continued. All those people who live out of the country, they support the Iranian people. They are not silent. They are voice of the Iranian people, and they learn during these months how to use the capacity to have effect on their government, and how they being voice of Iranian people, how get attention of the non-Iranian attention for support Iranian people. We continue, we never stop, but something is hard, and we need to wait to finish the process of that. One of the best example is, the decision of Donald Trump. We were talking about that. I know it's hard to say, but we need to be patient. We don't have other choice. But at the end, definitely, everything happens is benefit of Iranian people.
All right. And final word to you, Dr. Kholdi.
Based on the attempts of the cyber trolls of the Islamic Republic, they are trying to sowing the seeds of despair, and they have no legitimacy. They have nothing to promise to the Iranian people. So they are saying that, look, Americans have left you in the lurch, have left you alone, and we are the only game in town. Put up or shut up, and there is no hope for you. My message to my fellow Iranians is this: don't lose hope, because that's what they are trying to take away from you. You have nothing to lose. The only thing that you have is hope. Don't allow to take your hope away from you, because this means that they are really on their way out. Otherwise, they would not be so desperate to build on your disappointment and to make you feel that, okay, that's the end, and there is nothing that we can do. There is a lot that you can do, and the way this thing is going down, one way or the other, I think these people will themselves blow themselves up. And this is the way that these regimes often come to their end. Don't lose hope.
I'm so grateful to both of you. This has been a long session. I really appreciate the time you put into this and the thought. Wonderful to have you on the show for the first time, Ahmad Batebi. As always, Dr. Shahram Kholdi, thank you for being on again. Merci beaucoup to both of you, and hope to see you both soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. There you go. And that ended up being a wide-ranging conversation, wide-ranging panel, going from sports and football all the way to negotiations and war. Thank you to Dr. Shahram Kholdi for fact-checking us in real time in the middle of that panel as President Trump was tweeting something new, truth socialing something new, that completely undermined the complexion of what we were talking about, as is this complicated and topsy-turvy situation, global situation with Iran. Some really thoughtful moments there too with respect to the feelings about Team Melli. I should note that next week we're planning to we usually do our shows on Mondays and Thursdays during the Iran Rises series. I think we're going to do our Monday show on Tuesday next week, if that makes sense to you, because we're going to do it following the Iran game that happens on Monday. We suspect it's going to be a big game in terms of protests and Iranians in the diaspora making their voices heard. So we're going to record after that and post something on Tuesday. So look forward to that, and don't be worried if we're not there on Monday for you. And if you have any comments about what you heard today, any questions, any ideas, any things you want to get off your chest, info@roqemedia.com is where to find us, info@roqemedia.com, or of course you can post on any of our platforms that you consume the show on. This is Full Time for Roqe for today. Thank you to the amazing core team who puts this show together a couple times a week. Super Patty Sauce Sanjarani, savvy Roham Meher, and the photo and video queen Tina Fatahi. Special thanks as well to Smart Pega, Charming Kimia, Talented Anahita, Methodical Kave, and the Rising Keon, all of whom are working hard on Roqe Live 6. Thank you to all of you out there for supporting us and sharing our content. Look, if you don't already subscribe, you're 6.5 years into this, it's not hard. You just press the subscribe button on any of your podcast or YouTube platforms, etc., and you become notified of when we're doing things. You can find us on Instagram at Roqe Media. You can find me on Instagram at Jian Ghomeshi. And you can find, as ever, it is important to Mizun Bashin.